2024. Ravaged by an unprecedented global pandemic, the world lies in a state of unmitigated chaos. The flames of rebirth grow ever more ferocious amidst the violence and uncertainty of modern-day America. From the ashes, 4 schlubby white men emerge, unable to resist the thrum of their biological clocks. In their hearts, they knew only one fate awaited them. To start a podcast with a questionable premise and speak with authority on things they knew very little about. And so was born Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit. Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit.
Learner's Permit.
Welcome to Learner's Permit, a show where 4 friends forcefully educate each other on the topics they're most passionate about. Each week, one host selects a subject to educate the other 3 about in hopes to broaden their woefully narrow horizons. I'm the sneakiest of snakes, Austin, and to my right is...
Kody, I'm not a snake.
And across the table from me is...
Adam, who is bewildered by what the fuck Kody just did.
And to the left of me is...
Liam, but my friends call me Big Boss.
Oh, see, you know what?
I got distracted at
You
once.
motherfuckers! we're on a good run here.
This motherfucker could have said naked snake.
I wanted to.
I would accept
Naked,
that.
liquid, Solidus, pick one. Come
Could be
on,
awesome.
Yeah,
guys.
I would have... huh?
I want to be Ocelot.
No, you can't just... Oh, well, I guess technically he does become quote-unquote a snake
Yeah, he
later.
does.
You're wrong. You can't be Ocelot. We already know
You
that
can be
Austin is
Revolver Bobcat.
Revolver Austin Lot. We decided
Revolver
this.
Austin.
We decided this a long time ago, Kody.
But
My God, man, stop playing with your guns in the meetings.
Anyway, these guys showed their ass in the intro, but
I'm sorry. I got.
I didn't realize we were doing a thing. I'm sorry.
Well, before we started this, I went on I had a moment.
Kody got all of his little ookies out.
I did, and then and then a little bit of ookies was still there. So I
Some
apologize.
ookies dribbled out. You
Yeah.
dribbled some
I
ookies.
dribbled some ookies.
Cody's getting old. That ookie starts to dribble a little bit after he lets it out.
Gotta get some adult diapers to police up your ookies.
Oh man, do they have slides for those too?
You gotta install the ookie
Or
slides.
throw back to previous episode of Condom. Okay.
Slides. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize.
It's okay, Kody. I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're present.
It's going down your pant leg
Oh no,
onto
my
the floor
ookie's
right
going down
now.
my pant leg.
Oh, God.
Does anyone have
Somebody
a
get a
cardboard
towel.
box
Get a
I can
towel.
hide in?
No. One time, one of our friends got me a cardboard box for my birthday, and I was excited.
Just a cardboard box?
Well, yeah, because we had that precedent was set that we're both Metal Gear fans. So
Oh,
it wasn't
okay.
just like...
Was it a cardboard box that looked like the one that Snake has? Or is
It was
just,
the largest one that he could find. I could barely fit in it because it was in like the 8th grade, but still it was
you
exciting.
probably fit in now, though, right? 'Cause you shrunk.
He's shrunk. He's
Yeah.
Benjamin Button.
I'm about 2 feet smaller than I was.
You definitely still have that same cardboard box, surely.
Oh, surely, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think happened to that box?
Oh, it's long gone. I think my mom threw it out. Yeah, I don't.
Shortly after receiving it.
Yeah, right. No, it was like one of those moments where I'm like, look, I got a cardboard box. And I'm
Somebody
like,
left this trash in the living room.
Son, I know we said to use your imagination, but this is just sad.
yeah, they're like, I think
You're
there's
in
something
8th
wrong
grade,
with our
dude.
son. Yeah.
You say that, but then Nintendo put out that cardboard shit. What was it?
Oh,
yeah.
the play box thing.
The
that you-
Labo.
The Labo, yeah.
The like augmented reality
What
thing.
the fuck is a Labo?
It was literally like
Playbox.
I don't know if it's still a thing, but it is a cardboard kit where you can make shit out of cardboard and then use it in augmented reality.
They made the SpongeBob imagination box.
Yeah, so you can literally fold the box into like a little piano and then play the piano on the piano and it'll play music in the game.
That is kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, like if it works, that's
but-
kind of
but
cool.
It
but-
worked, but like
Why wouldn't you just have a piano in virtual reality instead of having to
you're
build
spending $60 on a bunch of cardboard?
Make 2 Toy-Con RC cars, a fishing rod, a motorbike, a house, and a piano using engineered pre-cut cardboard sheets and fun interactive instructions.
In case you couldn't tell, Kody has already busted out his phone for this episode.
That's good. We need to look her upper guy.
It was, I was like, do they still sell them? They still sell them. I was from the Nintendo website.
Cody, would you classify yourself as the looker upper guy of this podcast?
Fuck no, that's probably Adam.
Why would it be Adam? Adam hasn't looked up a single thing the entire time that we've done this, has he? Have you looked anything up?
Yeah, he
Adam?
did.
Be honest.
Yeah,
It was in Cody's first episode, actually.
What first episode?
Yeah, the episode.
It was in Cody's Imagine.
Hey, it was our pilot series.
Yeah, we had a pilot series, but Kody was too racist in all of them.
Oh, come on.
I like how Kody became the racist guy.
Oh, why? Was there someone else who should be the racist guy?
There's a guy that's very well known for being picked on as the racist guy.
A guy named Revolver Austin Lot came through here and was saying a lot of slurs.
I thought we were trying to go into a segue here to talk about the topic. And
Oh, no, but feel free. You know what? I was being kind of sneaky, and you know who else is sneaky? Solid Snake.
Yes. So, and the staple of Solid Snake is, of course, his handgun, which at this point, I'm sure all of you already know is
the Mark 23.
I was going to say Meryl's ass.
I was going to say.
That is a staple point in
Oh,
the
wait,
game.
no. Is it his?
Does Solid Snake ever have sex in any of the games?
Yeah, well, Big Boss has sex at the end of this game.
No, but
That's like the whole journey.
does Solid Snake
Is that
have
like the
sex?
hard mode ending?
Oh, because
Does the
he's
snake,
solid,
does the
not
snake
flaccid
that
snake.
we know as Solid Snake have sex?
He's got
David,
a solid snake.
as his
Yes.
name is. I believe so he was married to Meryl for 7 years. So if they didn't have sex in that 7 years, then something's really wrong.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe they did it like
There's
3
some
times.
eternal
then, I don't know.
virgins out there.
And if he is the likable autistic guy that doesn't mask at all, then maybe the whole time he was like, I'm too fucked up to have sex with you today. You just don't get it, Meryl.
Every time they go to have sex, he hides under the cardboard box.
He does have a fetish for cardboard boxes.
Would you call
To
it
each
fetish?
their
Do you
own.
think
I would call it a fetish. Yeah.
Do you think it's a glory hole kind of thing?
No, because he's never sticking anything out of the box.
No, but like
The
maybe
Nintendo
that's,
glory
maybe
hole?
that's their thing.
It's a voyeur thing. He wants to be in the box so that nobody knows he's there, but he can understand what's going on around
Snake's
him.
a cuck.
It's kind of like Sam Fisher with his obsession with shadows.
Yeah, it is. It is like, but like the moment that Snake gets seen, you know, that noise plays, the alert noise.
Yeah.
I imagine that if his fetish is the cardboard box, then that noise triggers him to come.
So
you
is
know
it
if-
really
you
about
know-
the cardboard box or is it about being seen?
No, it's about being seen
Yeah.
from the cardboard box. And you know, if he's coming in those tight ass pants, that's just like getting smeared up in there.
Oh, dude, it's like it's
Adam looks really pleased with this conversation.
it's like, oh, you're me from the last episode now.
Just the image.
He's just like it just like slides down his body.
The cardboard box?
No, the cum.
Wait, and then you can have a Kodak call with Otacon about it, and they go into great detail about how his suit is like self-cleaning or something.
is
Like,
it?
Once a week, I
No.
wash my
no,
pants.
but I'm not surprised that you aren't surprised that would be a thing because there's great.
They're made of an antimicrobial material.
It's the nanomachines.
I imagine-
they made cum-eating nanomachines that hang out in my pant leg.
The pain inhibitors.
Eat the cum and make it into gunpowder.
Yeah, I keep a reloading bench in my ass, just like all the Resident Evil characters.
I imagine that just taking the suit off sounds like peeling the wrapper off cream cheese.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh, that's
You're not wrong, but that hurts.
He has to get a new suit each time because it's form fitted for that one mission.
it's like it must his
Colonel,
suit,
I'm trying to sneak, but I can't with all the cum rubbing between my
he must smell so fucking rank
when he takes it off.
when he takes it
probably.
off. He's
Like
like,
sweat
do you
and
think
cigarettes.
he visibly gags?
Well, this is a real problem for like every hero of most things. Because like superheroes wear tight ass suits.
Batman.
You know, Batman.
Yeah,
you know,
Batman's like the prime.
He's like all fucking night fighting in like humid cities.
Same
Oh
thing
my
with like
god!
Same thing with like a lot of other video game characters. Like Master Chief is a great example. He's in a metal fucking suit that weighs
Yeah.
like a literal ton, and he's
and it's
sweating
all like
up a storm.
straight steel. Like it's not
Yes.
just like like body armor is usually just like ceramic plates inside of stuff, and it's
Dude.
like that. And that alone is
The
enough.
moment a Spartan takes off their helmet, you just smell their balls.
Do you think
They've
like,
been camping in that swampiness for months.
do you think like Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed is also just rancid smell because it's like,
dude, 'cause
Well,
it's gotta be
that's because of the time
the
he's
time
alive.
period too.
well,
yeah.
not only
because
that,
of
but
his
it's like
suit.
a like look at how many
so much
layers they
cloth.
have.
No, here's the thing. He's completely naked under that cloak. That's the thing. He's got the blades.
Isn't everyone completely
The blades
naked
are-
underneath their clothes?
No, because it's just a cloak. There's no like pants or shirt or any.
no, but he's got like a whole ass vest and
He has a
everything.
vat, and you can see his chest hair.
No.
And he's like, oh.
And you can see his button-up shirt that he
Yeah.
puts on underneath it for
No,
some
it's
reason.
like
he
the
wears-
MILF in the kimono next door.
I don't know. I
What
feel
the
like.
fuck does that mean?
I don't know, dude.
Wait, actually, can we backpedal and pay attention to this for a second?
I-
What do you mean?
fucking
I don't know.
MILF?
Isn't that like a fantasy that like every young guy has? Is like the girl next door, and it's a MILF in a kimono. I don't know.
Wait, you said the MILF in the kimono store, though.
Store? Did I
That's
say
what I
store?
You said store.
You had the MILF in the
I heard
kimono
next-
store.
I
that
heard
was
next
a
door.
I heard store.
did hear next
That's
door.
why
Next
I,
door,
That's why I
okay.
immediately was like, what the
But the,
fuck?
the part that stuck out to me was the MILF in the kimono next door.
Yeah.
Like that's
not
not
just like, not like
like if you said bathrobe, my brain would have been like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But
I mean, kimono, bathrobe, either one of those.
No. There's a difference. There's a difference.
difference.
And you
My-
said kimono, and if that's what you like, that's fine. It makes it a little less universal.
Are you
but
telling me you wouldn't like that?
a kimono, a MILF
sexy
in
kimono?
a kimono store?
Not necessarily
Probably
a
what's
not.
the
MILF,
difference
but-
between a regular kimono and a sexy kimono?
Ooh,
I-
good question.
one
I
has polka
wasn't.
dots, one doesn't.
I wasn't meaning to insinuate
stripes.
that there was a distinct category of kimono,
But you denoted it.
But you did.
I did. But
Adam, what's your
And now
what's
we're
your
picking on you.
what's your perfect type of MILF? If you just describe them physically.
One with a Mark 23 SOCOM.
yeah,
Add well, I want that detail at the end, but like, what is the physical description? Then you can get to the what's in the hand at the very end.
I don't even know how to begin to answer this
Let's
question.
not. So we're talking about the Mark 23 SOCOM.
Thanks, Kody.
All right. Yeah. So, I mean, as you guys can tell, this gun was brought to my attention through Metal Gear Solid, which speaks volumes to how it was received to the general public of like, it exists in a space where most people know it from movies and video games because it was made in the 90s. And even if there were like notable things to happen in between then and now, we probably wouldn't even be allowed to know about them. As far as I know, there's no specific stories of Medal of Honor recipients or anything that are tied to this specific weapon. So I think that's kind of why it's gone underneath the radar, partially because it was made specifically for one task and it was never really designed that way, but it ended up being that way.
So you're saying no real world heroes made this gun popular, so they had to make up a guy who is sick and fucks a lot. But off screen.
Off screen. Yeah.
Fucks a little off screen.
Just
Heavily
in
implied
his 7-year
fucking.
marriage, he fucks a little. And it's really cool.
And it's really cool. So cool. We skipped all of it and went to the next game.
Well,
So-
that part's not important.
So is it so secretive because it's used in like special operations kind of thing?
So because of the nature of the gun, and we can dive into it a little bit, but the nature of how everything pans out, it's like weight, size, like magazine capacity, and how big, because the thing is a system. Like it's meant to be used not as just a standalone handgun, but with a suppressor and a laser aiming module. And it only really becomes useful when you use it in a role that you can only bring one weapon with you, and a pistol is the best option, right?
How often is that a thing?
It's a major thing for like underwater dive teams. Yeah. So the SEAL teams that do the underwater dive things on and around coastlines end up using it a lot because if you're going to be underneath the water, using a rifle slung over you obviously is super inconvenient and it can get caught on a bunch of shit where it's like you look at the Mark 23 and you're like, damn, this thing is fucking huge. But if you can just strap it onto your leg while you're swimming around, you don't have to worry about it too much. It can stay out of the way, and then you can utilize it when you go up on land or whatever. But like you think about it, and it's relatively weightless in the water, and you don't have to worry about it too much. But this thing, it needs.
It's heavy. It's like
it's like 2 pounds.
It's 2.5 pounds.
And I don't even know. Did we see if that was with the
That's
accessories on it
by
or
itself.
baseline?
It was 39 ounces.
Yeah. So
It's heavy.
it's fucking heavy. And then once you put the laser on the bottom of it and the suppressor too, like it's gonna be much heavier than
It's
that.
probably gonna be like what, over 3 pounds?
Would you call it
yeah.
sexy?
I would.
It's sexy.
Yeah,
It
I think
is
it's
kinda-
sexy.
Would it, be
It is sexy.
would it be sexier with a kimono?
Is it a polka dotted kimono?
Ooh.
Austin wearing a kimono holding a Mark 23.
Maybe if someone had like a kimono on the bed and they were like, "Oh, I did your laundry," and like, "What the fuck is it?" Whatever, and then they like pulled back the kimono and there was a Mark 23 underneath it.
I
and
got
I'd
a
be like,
surprise for you.
I did your laundry.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
your
like a-
fantasy scenario?
That sounds like a James Bond
It does.
scene.
Name the James Bond movie where a woman says to James Bond, I did your laundry.
So, Austin, ironically, the first iteration of the Mark 23 was not actually as modular as they had hoped, right?
So I don't know about in terms of the attachments and stuff, but I know that they had a couple of complications and like they wanted some weird features. Like most of this project was, it's kind of like that guy that lists something on Facebook where the wife's like, you got to sell this thing. And he's like, all right, well, I'll list it for an outrageous price. And if someone buys it, then whatever. The project requirements were kind of like that. So
it had a proprietary suppressor.
It did. And you can still buy them today, actually. B&T, the people that made the suppressor, actually did a limited run that you could buy them and they serial number match to the gun, which is super fucking cool. But they cost an arm and a leg. There's no way I would ever do that. But
yeah, there was only a few of them.
Yeah, well, and they just did a run recently for it too. But yeah, the requirements for this thing were ridiculous in the way that it had to have that laser aiming module with the light in it. It had to run with a suppressor. Oddly enough, they wanted left-hand pitch threads on the muzzle for some reason, which is very European of them. I don't know why they made that choice.
What do you mean? So lefties could use the gun properly?
No, so like, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Oh, so it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey?
Lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. I couldn't figure out.
Is that so you can unscrew it while you're pointing the gun at yourself?
So you can hold the suppressor in your teeth and do. No, I don't know why it's like that.
Just give me a shotgun here.
Are there notable other things like that with other guns? Do you know off the top of your head, or is that the only one that you can think of? I don't know why I was talking really quietly.
Just like thread pitches and weird stuff like that.
Was that?
Like, so as far as thread pitches goes, the reason I said it's very European is because almost out of spite, the entirety of the Soviet Union thread pitched all of their barrels left-handed throughout the entire Cold War.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if it would, and they still do it on most firearms today just because now that's like the precedent that was set. But I think if they were going to do it, then maybe it had something to do with they didn't want it to be cross-compatible with NATO weapons or something, but I don't know. That's the only other stuff that I can think of is like AKs have left-handed threads.
Okay. So the Mark 23 is by Heckler Koch, right?
It is, yeah.
So where's that based out of?
Well, it's in Germany.
Is it Germany?
But
Okay.
that was like a specific thing that they were talking about for some reason.
Who's it by?
Heckler Koch.
Yeah. Or some people say Heckler and Koch. It doesn't, either one's fine.
Which one is it?
Koch.
I don't know. There's still, people say it different ways.
Koch.
I think it's Coke. I believe it's Coke.
Well, then you guys would
There's
be.
very famous brothers who are very rich
Koch
who have
brothers?
that last name. Yes, the Koch
Yeah, but it's not
brothers.
spelt that way.
Koch. Yeah, it is.
Is it
Yeah.
spelled the same way?
It's spelled
I thought
the
it was
same way.
Kach, or maybe I'm
Wait,
wrong.
are you talking?
What brothers are
we
you
talking about Coca-Cola?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Talking about the billionaire Koch brothers. Are you not? Isn't that aware of these people? Okay,
Nope.
that's for another time, another conversation. But I believe it's pronounced Heckler and Koch.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. SOCOM is a segment or part of the weapon's name, right?
Yeah, so it's the Mark 23 SOCOM. The Navy puts the Mark designation on everything. So the 23 came after the 22, which is where this whole thing kind of develops from. There's the Mark 22 Hush Puppy, which was made specifically for silencing like sentries and dogs. It's called the Hush Puppy for obvious reasons. And that weapon actually had a slide lock on it, so you could shoot it and then the slide wouldn't reciprocate, so it cuts down on the noise because you don't have the action coming out and then gases don't escape back through the ejection port.
But you have to make sure to shoot the dog in the head, I presume.
Wherever kills it. I mean, if you got like a heart shot, maybe that would be a better idea. But
Now, what is SOCOM?
SOCOM stands for Special Operations Command. It was something that was stood up in the late 80s. They kind of realized that they had like a special operations problem with the branches of the military of being like, oh, well, the Army has the Green Berets, the Navy has the Navy SEALs, and then all the other subsidiaries after that. Delta is also part of the Army, but they don't talk to the Green Berets. So it's like everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And they're like, what if we just bring all these guys together? Everyone can kind of get to know each other a little bit, like kiss and have a good time. And then
There was a lot of kissing going back down.
oh, I'm sure. Yeah. There's a lot of butt scratching going on. But so this SOCOM was in an attempt to make sort of like a localized command so everyone can kind of talk to each other. And with that comes people kind of butting heads on how things should be done. And they took a look at their armaments at the time and they had all these weird proprietary guns like Swedish Ks and other machine guns and like to fit these weird roles like I was talking about, right? Like, oh, well, we might be doing this long range reconnaissance thing where we have to wear like plain clothes or something. And this is the best way to do it because the enemy here or the indigenous population is using this or whatever. And they're like, we need all of these things.
We need a gun you can hide in your pants, but that also has a grenade launcher on the bottom of it.
Yeah, right. So they were trying to figure out how they could minimize the arms room footprint by making a gun that could fit most of those roles without allowing them to just do whatever and have all these firearms lying around to be like, this is the thing that fit this role, whatever.
So can you be a little bit more specific about the needs or requirements that the Mark 23 aimed to achieve for SOCOM?
Yeah, so exactly what I was talking about, to namely cut down on the amount of weapons in the arms room. But it had to have suppressor height sights, that left-hand threaded barrel like we were talking about. It needed to have match-grade accuracy, which is something that still isn't really fleshed out as to what that means. There's no metric to actually measure this. And that's kind of where I was talking about, like, it's like they threw it out there of like, if it sticks, but we're going to throw out all these ridiculous requirements that no one could really meet. So that's one of the things, like match grade accuracy. What does that mean? There's no definition of it. So we're just going to throw it out there and hope that people fit the bill.
Is this the first gun that's produced outside of the United States that they used for military use in the United States? For the
like in general?
Forces? Yeah.
No. So there's been a couple in the past. Like there's a weird moment where like some of the, I don't remember if it was Texas Rangers or just part of the Texas National Guard back in like early 1900s before World War I were using Mosin Nagants.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I forget, I'd have to brush up on the history of it, but there was like a company of guys down there. There's like a photo of them in the company on the range. And they've got like Russian rifles slung over their shoulder and stuff like that. Yeah.
How very American.
Yeah. But the reason why also is because we were making Mosin Nagants for Russia at one point because Russia couldn't fulfill the quantities that they needed. So they had to import. And so we were like, we could build them if you want us to.
Was this when?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was not. I don't think, I think this was predates World War One.
Okay.
Before they went into their revolution.
So
why didn't you come back?
Why did you come back? So for anybody who doesn't know, Austin and I were in the same U.S. history class and we had like a World War One, like
Treaty of Versailles reenactment. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was Russia and Austin you were the United States.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, why didn't you come back after your Russian Revolution?
And in my brain, I was like, got him. What are you going to say now, Kody?
And I was like, the revolution wasn't over yet. And he went.
And I like flipped through my notes real quick and was like, shit, you're right.
Wow.
It was funny. You had to be there. And Austin was like notably like the war history guy.
Yeah, which was like, really funny. It's like, it's the same thing with like Band of Brothers where it's like they get all these minute details correctly of like this helmet net at this time was worn by these people and it's this size. And then they're like, yeah, we got the date where Hitler killed himself wrong. And you're like, how the fuck? You could Google that. You could literally just look that up. It's like the most well-known fact.
Well, always trust a white man to be wrong when he sounds authoritative.
It was so goddamn funny.
Isn't that what this podcast is?
Yes.
Oh, wait, we're wrong?
The only person on this podcast so far who hasn't been wrong is Austin when he was explaining what Adam's fantasy kimono MILF would be, which would just be him in a kimono or him in a room with a woman telling him his laundry's done with a kimono.
I hate putting my laundry away. That would be such a godsend if they're...
I'm getting sweaty.
Fold it and put away your laundry.
Ladies out there, if you're listening.
I'm just going to finish this list up real quick and so we can get out of the way so we don't have to talk about boring requirements the whole time because I can feel people waiting.
I'm loving it. Suppressor
right sights, left-hand thread. It needed to have match-grade accuracy. It needed to be able to be carried cocked and locked and for whatever, if anybody doesn't know what that means.
I think it's pronounced coked and loked.
Coked and loked. Coked and loked. But basically what that means is the hammer needs to be in the ready position. So all you have to do is pull the trigger, but you can put the safety on and you won't be able to do anything. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So, well, that's pretty standard with a lot of guns, especially after the 1911 set the precedent of doing that.
So if you didn't want to put your safety on, you could shoot your dick off real easy.
No, I think it's more about just having the weapon ready to go.
Sorry, Cheddar Bob.
What? Okay.
8 Mile.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Cheddar Bob did shoot himself. Maybe he had put the gun on safe, then he would have or carried it half cocked. It needed to have a safety decocker, meaning that when the hammer is in the rear, you can hit that lever and it will safely let the hammer down. Because before that, if people were going to let the hammer down on a chambered round, you would have to physically put your thumb on there, pull the trigger at the same time, and let it down on your own.
So this gun enabled easy mode for all these people who would be swimming with it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So there was something that seemed like that could have been a potential quality of life feature in the first phase that didn't return for subsequent phases, which was the slide lock in front of the trigger guard. Because It can still be fired when that's engaged, but it was supposed to like lessen the noise when using the suppressor, right?
Yeah. So, and we talked a little bit about it earlier with like when you fire an automatic handgun with a suppressor on it, some of the noise does come from when the slide actually unlocks and the shell is ejected. There's still escaping gases coming back through there. There's some blowback, and that obviously creates some noise because it's not going through the baffle. It's not going out the muzzle end.
Was it like a fart noise?
No, it's more aggressive than that.
Have they ever made a gun that makes a fart when you fire it?
No, but there have been guns that have been referred to as burp guns.
Does it sound like a burp?
No, well, some people would argue that it does. But
I'm just thinking technological advances of whatnot. Tesla's came out with that whoopee cushion seat thing. Could we do that with a gun, you think?
so people would just think that you were being socially awkward.
Yeah.
And then like suddenly Archduke Ferdinand falls over clutching his fucking stomach.
Now you get me. Now you get me.
I just have really bad gas. I didn't get shot. This is not what started World War I, where Austin was wrong.
Sorry.
Get wrong.
Yeah, you were right. You were
pussy.
right. You were
Where'd
right.
you go?
I don't want to give too many wins to Russia, but you're right in that instance. You can't catch me on the Lusitania, though. I had that on lockdown.
Hey, I was on your side on that one.
Yeah,
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I know, because you benefited from that.
I did benefit from that. I mean, Russia benefited from that.
Diplomacy, am I right?
Kody made a lot of money off from the Lusitania.
I went back in time. What the fuck was that?
I apologize. I kicked the thing underneath my
I've
microphone.
been kicking the table for funsies.
Just to round this out real quick, hold your questions till the end. It needed to
single?
withstand a 96-hour saltwater submersion test. So like at no
You gotta
point.
be louder than that, Kody. If you're gonna ask. He said, "Are you single?"
I was like, yo, you single?
Yeah.
Wait, so it needs to be able to fire underwater.
No, not
just
fire
reading it.
underwater. Although I'm sure that it could, but that wasn't a test that it had to do. As long as you have a weapon that's fully submerged in water, you usually can fire them. But 96-hour saltwater submersion test, so it stayed in there for 4 straight fucking days in the water, and it needed to be able to be pulled out and used because that was the main idea of it was going to be underwater dive team stuff. Which is
What scenario would the dive team be underwater for 4 straight days, though?
well, I mean, because you're going to be on the ship. So think about it. If you're just out in the open sea air, like
just gonna
Me
get
dipping my
corrosion and
gun in
stuff.
the water
No,
every
but if you-
hour or so while I'm on the ship.
no, but like the air on the sea still has salt in it. So like. That's why everyone that lives on the coast has shitty cars, dude. They're like leaving 60% of their car on the side of the fucking road
Yeah,
as
that's
they're
true.
driving.
That's fair.
Just because of the air alone is enough. But they went a step further and they were like, let's just make it has to be completely submerged. It has to survive and like I said, this is like the thing
That's an insane.
right. And so
endurance
SOCOM just
test.
threw this out on the table and they're like, it needs to be able to survive 30,000 rounds before it has a breakage. on
After
something.
the 4 days underwater?
I don't know if it became before or after, but over its service life, it has to last 30,000 rounds. And so before this, the preliminary test for handguns in the DoD was 6,000.
Why did they up it for this?
Because I don't know exactly, like I said, they kind of like, I think somebody somewhere along the line, there was a little bit of talk about this, and I listened to a long podcast of guys, or a guy that was in the testing program that I chose not to send you guys because it was like an hour and 20 minutes long, and I didn't think you'd get anything out of it. But
I would have loved it.
the guy basically said he had gone there initially because he didn't want anything to do with the project because, you get into a comfort zone of like, we're already proficient with what we have. Why do we need to spend the money on this new thing? So he kind of showed up and was like, I kind of want to sink this thing. Fuck this thing. Like, we don't need it. And then he showed up and saw how awesome it was doing and was kind of like, maybe we don't need all these other fucking things and we can just do just this one pistol and it will work really well. So I think some of these requirements came from people that were thinking the same thing. Maybe some of their superiors were like, make a cool ass gun that we can use. And they were like,
Make a gun for guys like me who fuck.
right. Yes. Make a gun for Solid Snake. So, but then I'm sure those guys were like, okay, well, let's just throw out ridiculous standards to see if it can meet it. And surprisingly, HK and Colt were kind of the only ones that really threw guns on the table to even try. And Colt didn't even really fucking bother trying to meet the requirements. They're just like, we kind of have a gun here. Check this out. And then HK was like, we already have a gun in the works that may work. Let's do this thing. And they followed every single tiny stringent thing on here and they passed it with flying colors. Like I couldn't find anything in terms of like how many stoppages they had in the 30,000 rounds, but it lasted the 30,000 rounds and it's with plus P plus. So like what we were talking about before.
You explained it to me a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit extra grams of like powder.
Yeah. So in every
Bigger
45,
boom? Bigger boom?
bigger boom. So you put a bigger strain on the weapon. That's why it's so large. So you get all these more reinforced parts and it's fucking huge. Like
Did they dip the gun into the ocean in between shots to cool it down?
No, but that actually is a form of testing parameters that they've used in the past. If a gun started to heat up so much that it was like going to get warped, they would just dump it in a bucket and then pull it back out and keep going.
Doesn't that can't you just crack?
I'm sure, yeah.
You can definitely crack shit like that.
Yeah,
like
you could
super
probably
heated to super cold will fuck metal up.
Right.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's kind of the idea of military testing is you want to break the thing.
That's a thermal shock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at you guys with the fucking knowledge brands. I'm over here like
The knowledge.
I mean, that concept also applies to glass.
yeah, well, I'm fucking stupid.
Which is why people, when they pour boiling water on their fucking windshield.
Liam's over there like, yeah, you're dumb as fuck, Cody. You're stupid.
I'm right there with you.
Oh, you're also dumb as fuck. Hell yeah.
Brother, did you just fake a high five? Oh, wait, sorry. We totally high five right there.
Yeah, we definitely have five each other right
Cody,
there.
high five.
Oh my God.
so
Across
cool.
the table. How did you reach that far?
Up high. Down low. All right, that fucking rocks.
Fuck you.
Adam just clapped his hands together. To be clear to everyone else, anyway, so this gun rocks and fucks and is for guys like Cody and I who fuck.
High five all the
high
time.
five all the time.
Yeah.
And kimono
Which is
wearing
exactly
MILFs.
why you've never
Yes,
heard of it
and
ever.
kimono wearing MILFs who do your laundry.
Oh, yeah, dude.
How good is the gun at doing your laundry?
You would think with all these requirements, it'd be able to do laundry.
It has
you
a,
think
it has a
you'd be
washer
able-
dryer attachment.
Do you think you'd be able to properly operate a washer dryer using the gun?
Like just reaching out with it? Not
No.
my washer and
Maybe.
dryer because I need to pull the what is sprockets. Anyway,
Austin told me a story earlier where he thought he broke his fucking washing
I did. I
machine.
thought I broke my washing machine. Yeah.
Were you using a gun to operate it? Because I
No.
could see maybe where the error would happen there.
He put the gun in the washing
Yeah,
machine.
I wanted to clean it. I didn't feel like taking it apart, so I just no. I got the load size wrong, and it freaked out at me. And
fucking hate it when I get my load size wrong.
If I had a nickel.
extra large load. Oh, fuck.
Extra large load for sure.
Coach.
All right, yeah, we're doing great here.
I'm glad that we're all illiterate and we fumble our fucking words so goddamn often.
Verbally dyslexic.
So, and that kind of all encompasses why, like, you don't really see this weapon in the spotlight in terms of like you never hear about it in relation to missions, like because no one's talking about it in the way that. And there was a long-standing myth for a while that even I believed back in school when I first learned about this thing that people thought this thing sucked ass. Then it was never talked about. It was never used. It was
Well,
thrown.
nobody's done anything epic with it.
Well, that we don't know about because, like I said, this was from the 90s to the 2000s where mostly guys are using it. They still have it in their arms rooms today, but you just don't hear a lot about it being used. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're not in a space where that any of that stuff would have been declassified at this point.
Will Smith shot a vampire dog with it.
He did. So that's why I sent you guys the little snippet of movies and stuff because I thought maybe you would see maybe a movie in there that you had seen or whatever. Breaking Bad was in there. I didn't know that they used it in Breaking Bad.
I wasn't sure if that was Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, but yeah, it was one of those. two.
It was
Yeah.
whatever intellectual property tied to to Hank, but yeah, it becomes just more of a screen presence because of how like when you put this gun in somebody's hands, it's so fucking large that most of the time movie armor is like, I want that gun. That looks fucking cool, and it looks cool because it was designed to have all these gadgets and doohickeys on it. So it's like, how many things can we put on this and it looks cool? You know, it's like there's levers and switches that maybe the regular user doesn't really know what it does, but it looks fucking sick. So its service life is kind of brushed underneath the rug. You don't really hear about it, but then you get icons like Sam Fisher and Snake, specifically Solid Snake. That's like his gun, and it's called back to in the series so many freaking times, like to the point where they couldn't dare give Raiden a SOCOM. They gave him a fucking USP, which is another like sort of version of it, but it's smaller and less manly. So
Less manly.
yeah, less manly.
I was wondering if it was related.
And it's less
USB,
manly because it has less gadgets and doohickeys.
and it's smaller, and it was made initially to be in 40 cal.
Do you think that the smaller gun is a statement on anything?
Do you think the larger gun is a statement on anything?
No, I think the smaller gun is a statement on the character. So I don't know if you know anything about Metal Gear Solid.
What
but
about the character are they trying to say?
Yeah.
about Raiden?
So
it's
saying
like,
that Raiden has a big dick and Snake has a small dick?
no, it's the other way
Do you
around.
It would be the other way around.
It's for bathrobe wearing dilfs.
To the bathrobes.
Oh, is that a cobra or is that a gardener snake?
It's a naked snake.
Adam, can you please describe your perfect bathrobe wearing DILF, like physically?
Chris
Me.
Evans.
Chris Evans. Okay, well, now I'm
second
kind of
that.
curious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just Chris Evans? What movie Chris Evans? Like Captain America?
Yeah,
Chris
no,
Evans?
No.
I don't think Captain America was ever naked
Wait,
on screen.
I take the Scott Pilgrim.
I take Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
but he looks really good in The Gray Man.
He does.
You
Yeah.
guys
No, he
have watched the movie The Gray Man?
yeah, it's good.
It's mindless action movies.
Yeah,
Do you not
I
like
like that
mindless
movie.
action movies?
You already know the answer to this question.
He
You're
likes fart
asking
movies.
a question.
He does
I like
love fart
fart
movies.
movies. I like fart movies. I like
He's-
dumb movies.
Yeah, it's a dumb,
Yeah, The Gray Man is a dumb
No,
movie.
I like dumb movies that are dumb in an enjoyable way.
Dumb and Dumber.
I thought that was a greatly dumb, enjoyable movie.
I agree.
That's fine. I respect that. I respect that you guys enjoyed the movie. I'm not going to watch it, but I respect that you guys liked the movie and enjoyed it. I'm not going to dirt on you.
And he had a sweet mustache throughout.
He had a
it, too.
great mustache.
A gray mustache?
Great.
A great.
I
Great.
was going to say, is that why he's the gray man? Because he has a gray mustache?
A 45 caliber
I
mustache.
kind of just assumed the Gray Man was a sequel to the Liam Neeson film The Gray,
Gray.
The Gray.
where he then is now
Becomes
like a
a
man
man.
with two wolf heads on his fists or something. I didn't see that movie either, to be honest.
I didn't see The Gray either.
Yeah.
Was that the one when he takes on the bear? Or
I
is that
think he
Rev-
fights
That's the
wolves.
Revenant with Leo.
Yeah.
Like we're best friends. I said it like.
Yeah, you and Leo know each other. You go way back.
Ooh.
Way back, baby.
Are there implications with being real?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Being what?
Being friends with Leonardo DiCaprio as he does not like women.
Younger than 24.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he has kind of a track record.
Would you say you have anything in common with him?
No.
Okay. Anyway, the gun.
Yeah, but that's why its media presence is so big. And there's so many times where like you see it in a movie or like when we were watching Looper and immediately I think I saw the red from the safety and then it was kind of chonky and I was like, oh, that's a Mark 23. And then
Oh, you're
it's
like, oh, this bitch chonky.
yeah. And then
He likes
fucking
him thick.
whips
Yeah,
it
Austin
out and
likes
then
him
it's
thick.
immediately like, oh, okay, I recognize that gun. But it's not as iconic as the 1911 where people that maybe know less about guns recognize it quite off the
Yeah.
immediately off the
Was
bat.
it Bruce Willis in Looper that had the gun?
What?
Yeah.
So it's
He stole it from Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Who he is
no,
himself.
I know, I
yeah.
know the part of the movie. I've seen that movie, but
We
it's
hadn't.
funny to me that you like the prosthetics in that movie.
No,
Dude,
I
my girlfriend was like,
love his nose.
my
in that
girlfriend was
movie.
like, what the fuck is
It's
wrong
so
with his face?
funny.
we
What's
spent
going
half
on?
the movie trying to figure it out, and then finally Kody looked up and was like, "Oh, they put prosthetics."
you guys,
no,
couldn't-
I
you
didn't-
guys
I
didn't
didn't-
realize that right
No,
off the bat
no.
that they just gooped him up to look like Bruce Willis.
I was confused because I don't remember the last time I saw a Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie, but I knew something was fucking wrong, especially his eyebrows. His eyebrows were like fucked up.
yeah.
So I knew that something was different. I was like, oh, that's definitely prosthetics. I didn't even look it up because I was like, well, obviously there's a reason why he's wearing a prosthetic. I'm not going to look it up. It's
Oh,
gonna
I thought you
spoil
had
it.
looked.
No, my
It's not
girlfriend was
really a
like,
spoiler. It's the main plot of the movie.
I didn't
is
know
that
anything
he
about the
goes
movie.
back in time to kill himself.
but I didn't know that because I'd never seen the movie.
Oh, well, I mean,
No, he doesn't go back in time to kill himself.
He goes back in time to get killed by himself
what's the difference?
because he's not going back in time to kill himself.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he
No,
is.
he's going back in time to kill the little kid.
Yes.
With the
It would be kind of silly if he went back in time just to
He's
commit
a looper.
suicide.
He closes his own
no.
loop.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt version. Is,
I'm just talking about him as a person. He goes back in time to kill himself.
No.
no.
He does.
No, because
No.
the
He does.
future
No.
Bruce Willis goes back in time
Yeah.
Yeah.
to current
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Yeah.
who needs to kill Bruce Willis. Bruce
Yeah.
Willis is not going back in time to kill Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He'd be killing himself.
And then he would cease to
And then
exist.
he would
Yeah,
never
but
exist.
he does kill
And that
himself.
would,
Isn't that the whole point of like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's going to shoot Bruce Willis in the head?
yeah, but that's not, you're saying that Bruce Willis is going back
way
in
that
time.
you
He goes
the way
back
that you
in time so
structured the
that he can
sentence,
kill
it-
himself.
No,
Bruce Willis
because that's
goes
not
back
why
in-
Bruce Willis goes back in time.
Bruce Willis goes back in time so that Joseph Gordon-Levitt can kill Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Yes,
You're
there we go.
saying
I'm
it-
aware.
You're saying it like
No, you
Bruce
guys
Willis
are
is
just-
going back in time
Look,
to kill
anyone
Joseph.
who
You
hasn't
chose
seen
the
the movie.
subject of the
Let me
sentence and
very
you
clear.
continued
Let
it
me be-
into
It's the same subject. They're the same person.
Adam.
And
Yeah,
so,
but you
look,
can't
Adam,
structure it in a way like
Has
that.
Adam
us.
seen the movie? Adam, have you seen the movie?
I have not seen the movie, but I understand what
don't-
you were saying.
You understood what I was saying?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you very much.
No, he was
Anyway.
intentionally phrasing it that way to fuck with you.
No, I wasn't.
Yes,
It was
you
just
were.
the same subject. But anyway, I think it's
You
funny
are
that he would
fucking-
use that gun in that movie because aren't they supposed to be in the future?
Yeah, so not only are they supposed to be in the future, but he's concealing it on his person. Where
Yes.
like where we talked about, like if you have to do that, that's a pretty okay weapon to do it with. It's not the weapon I would choose to do it with. He had a smaller gun in the apartment. I don't even remember what happened. And then like,
Oh, he fell off the ladder and onto the car.
What's
Oh,
wrong
yeah.
with a 2-pound gun?
but yeah, the movie confused me, but it was fun. I liked the movie.
We didn't finish it.
I know.
I was like, I need to go to bed. Go the fuck home. And you're like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed that in the Mark 23 compilation that you sent us, Bruce Willis comes up a lot in it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Well, he also came up in for a previous gun that we've discussed.
In our pilot series.
Yes, in our pilot series. Because he uses the 1911 in the movie Last Man Standing to kill 37 people.
I've never seen that movie. But
You should watch it. It's the compilation I watched of him killing people. When he shoots them, it's like, you've seen Django Unchained, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Where they,
at
fly.
the end, where they fly.
Yeah.
It's like that. Every single person he kills
So
is
good.
like that.
It's like Steven Seagal movies. Have you seen, what's the one where he was like still kind of popular in the main space, where he like goes onto a submarine and he's fighting
Under Siege 2?
Yes, Under
Yes.
Siege. There's a scene where he runs down a hallway with 2 MP5Ks crossed in front of his chest, shooting into doorways indiscriminately, and it's played off as this heroic, cool ass move. But he's like kind of jogging down the hallway, and it's a horrible camera angle, and he's like crossed all weird, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and then they get to the other side and they like do the typical like behind cover. Now he's reloading the magazines. I'm like, that was the most fucking donut hole fucking rolling around on my fat belly shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, like he realistically wouldn't he have just like had the recoil make his arms go up and slap himself in the face with both guns?
I mean, you could control it, but it's just not.
Look, he's not in the armed forces anymore. He's a chef. Okay? Cut him some slack.
Wait,
Is that what he's
the
doing?
premise? I don't remember the chef part.
Yeah,
So they,
he's a chef.
Yeah, but
and he's always the retired guy that's like,
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
he would be able to control the recoil while jogging weirdly doing this.
I mean, yeah, you could, but it's just like one of those things. It's like,
Do you think he could do
you would
that
never
with
just run bum rush down the fucking hallway and decide I'm going to, even if you did it this way, there's no way you would just run down the, you
Has-
get shot immediately and
Has
die.
Steven Seagal ever used the solid snake gun?
The Mark 23?
Yeah.
Not that I know of off the top of my head, but he's been in enough like, I'm a Navy SEAL that's retired, that you would expect it to show up. I haven't seen it yet though.
Is the Mark 23 used in The Rock?
Like,
I feel like the-
inside Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No.
No, in the with Sean Connery and Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
And the guy from Scrubs.
Wait, what? He's in that movie? Which one?
Dr. Cox from Scrubs is in that movie.
Yeah, he's in that movie.
Oh, he's like the second hand.
I think he dies to the nuclear balls when they bust it out.
He's the older guy, right? In Scrubs.
He's the asshole
Yeah.
lead doctor.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a movie that they would use that in.
I can't remember. They use a lot of MP5s, and there's weird fucking fire traps on Alcatraz for some reason.
Yeah, that's a good, dumb, fun movie.
I love that movie.
That's an enjoyable, dumb, fun movie.
And then, what is it? Ed Harris? Is that his name?
Ed Harris, yes.
Ed Harris makes a fantastic, jaded military leader guy that's like, I'm going to blow up the United States.
Because you're not taking care of our veterans.
Why? They didn't get their fucking, their disability checks this month, you fucking monsters.
I love Ed Harris and everything that he's in.
He's always really good.
Yeah.
He was super good in Westworld.
I
Never
stopped
watched it.
watching that.
I've only seen snippets of it from when my family was watching it, but from what I've seen, he's really good.
I watched the first 2 seasons, and then I got two oopty-whoopty, and then I
Oh,
didn't
what
care
comes
anymore.
out my leg?
Yeah.
It
No, I think that was
dribbles down Cody's
Ookie.
leg.
Ookie.
Ookie. Yeah,
Did you say
the
Ookie?
Ookie.
You're dribbling that ookie.
It smells weird in here now.
Yeah, well, it smelled weird in here for a while now, but you know.
It didn't smell in here until Liam
Okay,
showed
look,
up
I
late.
already know the names here. Okay, Revolver Austin Lot. I'm Big Boss. Adam is Naked Adam, and Kody is Liquid Cody. Naturally, or Liquid Dust
Naturally.
Cody if we want to be
Ooh,
a little more
Liquidus.
specific.
Can we go on to this bullshit
Yeah, go
Metal
on
Gear
to it,
thing?
yeah.
I have never. The only one that I've played is the Phantom Pants. And
The Phantom
Austin-
Pants?
It's a plural.
The Phantom Pants.
The Phantom Pants. I'm just like you.
The
I put my
Phantom
Phantom Pants on one leg at a time.
Not so solid snake.
I strap my Mark 23 into my Phantom Pants one leg at a time.
It wasn't actually in the Phantom Pain, which was sad.
Yeah, well, you know why.
There's
There's a
a
reason
lot.
for it.
Yeah.
I
Well-
don't know if these guys have played through the game
Well,
entirely.
the biggest reason is because firearms companies cracked down on the game industry and stopped allowing them to fucking market their guns as like the guns. But anyways, continue.
Austin's favorite game series of all time is Metal Gear. And I was like, I'll be a good friend. I don't have the time to play the games, but I could sure as hell watch a 3.5 hour long video.
Same time investment.
It's
You're going to
it's-
need a 30-minute
It is
rundown.
one of the most fucking ridiculous. It's like a goddamn soap opera.
And when you watch
it's
it in a
convoluted.
compressed state like that,
It's so
it always sounds like
fucking-
a
it's
soap
so
opera.
fucking funny. Oh, my son is now fucking my wife. I'm gonna fucking wheel my broken legless ass into a goddamn pool and drown myself.
And when you say it like that, like nothing that he said there was wrong. That's all correct. But when you say it like that, it sounds like. But they spend the whole game where you get to know these characters, and then you find out this fucked up backstory, and you're like, oh, okay, well that kind of sucks because I spent the last fucking 5 years since I've known Otacon shitting on him for being a nerd, and now I realize like his whole childhood was so fucked up, dude. Like all of his parents were constantly like taking advantage of him, and then not only that, you find out that Huey Emmerich, his dad, is a massive piece of shit. He's on top of that.
Giant piece of shit.
Yeah, because you interact with him in the other games. Like, and then in Peace Walker, you meet him and you're like, he's not actually that bad. He's kind of just like a different Hal. And then you go on and you're like, wow, this guy's a fucking like, he's dripping with shit. This is how bad this guy is.
He's dripping with Uki.
No, he's dripping in his own Uki.
No, I wasn't Ukiing, guys. That's not Uki.
He can't even privately Uki, dude. Keep your Ukis to yourself.
Cody got Austin to go off on a rant about the plot of the Metal Gear game so that Cody could quietly Uki away from the mic.
My favorite part that you brought up, which is totally true, but it's funny because it became a staple of the series where when I beat a game, I was excited for this moment, and Cody totally crushed my soul.
As I do with people.
where he was like, and at the end of the game, they always have these stupid soap opera phone calls where it was like, remember when this happened? This was actually me. And then you're like, what? And then like at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, Ocelot makes 2 separate phone calls, and that happens twice where it's so I love those moments, and Cody's like, this is fucking stupid.
So fucking dumb.
You know, I can relate to you, Austin, because I am a big fan of a different game series that has a similarly insane storyline.
Can I guess?
That if you were to condense it, no, you don't need to name it. If you
is it guess? Yakuza?
Yeah.
You didn't let me fucking guess.
Fuck you, Uki Man.
It's a long ass series with games with plots that are completely nonsensical and filled with those soap opera moments repeatedly.
But it's amazing.
So many moments where you could just kill the bad guy, or not turn your back to him just because he's on the ground with the gun 2 inches away from him.
There's a sense of honor.
There is a sense of honor, and it's very one-sided. Let me tell you, it makes for a tragic story.
The only thing I remember from Yakuza is isn't there like a vending machine boss fight where you beat up a vending machine, and then him slamming the phone down if you like fuck up the phone mini game or something?
Oh, there's a million mini games with some very, very funny animations and cutscenes, but
it's like very intense. Picks up the phone. Moshi Moshi. Like, I love that shit, dude. And like Metal Gear is full of shit like that. But then,
I think that's the dating phone game from Zero. Which is very funny because you are the main character of the series for most of the series is much like Solid Snake, an eternal virgin.
Oh,
but
really?
a guy who also fucks, but he doesn't fuck.
Off screen, yeah. We can't
never
prove
fucks.
it. Yeah.
You can never prove that he fucked, but like he's a
totally
really
fucks.
cool guy and he's tough as nails.
Right.
But then you have him doing these mini games where he's like in an 80s, phone dating club and he's like,
yeah, the visibly autistic guy that doesn't wear a mask and is just genuine, but gets bitches and everybody loves him.
yeah,
I need to play so much fucking mahjong.
yeah.
Is that another minigame?
Hey,
Yes,
dude,
it
you
is.
play so much fucking mahjong in that game.
And karaoke.
Have you played the games, Cody?
No, I haven't, but I've watched people play
You
it.
should play the game.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm
Cody, you would
I'm
love
I
it.
can- I
I'm too
convinced
deeply
Adam to
invested
start
in
Zero.
another thing that takes a large portion of my time.
No, you're caught up with that. I convinced Adam to start Zero, and he loved it.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
You guys would love it.
I need
Especially you, Austin. I know you would enjoy the series.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into it because I as a kid, I hated the like Japanese sort of way of telling stories in games. And then something happened where Metal Gear and Resident Evil just hooked me and I loved the camp. Every second of the
something
camp.
about a series that is so long with such a convoluted, nonsensical story just speaks to me.
Yeah.
Just
There's so many, like if someone asks a question of like, well, why did this happen? And you have a detailed, specific answer, like, and then Big Boss invented Doritos. And you're like, what? Which is canonically correct.
Wait, is that true? Did he
Yes,
really
he invents Doritos. And technically, there's no way that he could invent Mountain Dew because Mountain Dew was made in like the 50s.
Yeah.
But you make Mountain Dew and Doritos in Peace Walker. You develop it on Mother Base, and you can make your guys Mountain Dew and Dorito t-shirts to wear. To go out and
That's
fight
fucking awesome.
It's so funny, dude. So like canonically in the universe, Big Boss on his island of pirates in the in the Mediterranean made
Oh no, Austin's table broke.
Yeah, my table. It fell
Oh,
apart.
fuck, the table exploded.
But
The Mark
yeah.
23 shot the leg.
But yeah, and you can actually bring them on missions as consumables to get health back.
Well, actually, funny enough that you mentioned Mountain Dew, because they just added, like, the Yakuza games, they have a lot of real world dishes. So you can like go to restaurants and eat food and it'll like show you the image of the food. And it's always like a real photo when you get it. But like in the convenience stores, I'm pretty sure are real convenience store chains from Japan.
Oh, that's sick.
And they have a lot of like real products. But in the most recent 2 games, they added Mountain Dew as a product, like Pepsi products that you can buy as something to, as a consumable. And I thought it was very funny.
And that's weirdly
gifting
common.
Mountain Dews to characters.
Is the newest one Like a Dragon?
The newest one is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is the secret, or not, this is the sequel.
Oh, it's the
The
secret.
It's the sequel to the last mainline game, which was Like a Dragon. But
Is
it's
there,
funny
like,
because
fucking, like,
in
11 of
Japan, there are 8. Wait, so 7 games originally, if you count 0 for the like initial saga, and then you have 2 spin-offs, I think, because you have one that's set in like an older period of Japan, where you play a different character, and then you have
Is that Ishin?
Yes, and then you have Gaiden, which is you follow the main character from the first 7 games on a separate thing to connect the story of 7 and 8. And then 7 follows a new character, but the main character from the first games comes back at the very end in a dramatic turn or whatever. And that's a turn-based game. So like they completely changed the type of gameplay at that point. And then now you have 8, which is the most recent one. So yes, there are 10 games, I believe.
I was so close. That is fucking. I couldn't. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
I played all of them except Isha.
Aren't they all like 100 hours?
If you were to like
Like
100%
100%.
them, but I don't know what kind of fucking psychopath would do that because there are so many fucking side activities.
Yeah.
And I'll like do the fun ones or the ones that I come across, but I don't really like go out of my way in the games to play every single thing. Cause like I don't need to play a poker mini game
Are you sure?
or a pool mini game.
Are you sure?
Karaoke's pretty
sure.
entertaining.
There actually
Karaoke
there
is
are
just a rhythm
some
game.
There are some games
yeah.
that I will play mini games like that, like Red Dead. I never
Brother,
did.
if you're into that type of shit, start playing the Yakuza games. You will have
Yeah.
no need for any other game.
I definitely want to do that because it is fun to kind of like slow down in the world and then go like, I'm just going to waste money at the poker table.
A lot of the games in this series have like core mini games that tie into the main story where they
Yeah.
like force you to play around of it, and then it's like, well, you could get a bunch of money if you play this mini game. Like one of the early ones has a cabaret management mini game. It's very interesting, and there's like real estate and shit like that. It's very.
I just like the juxtaposition of like these very stoic looking Yakuza members. And then they're like, we're going to go on a Japanese game show where there's like,
You're managing this
mascots
cabaret club, and now you have to fight the 5 leaders of the most prominent cabaret clubs in the city. And they're 4 very distinct looking people with one boss.
and like one of them's a clown or something stupid. Like,
You guys got to check out The Way of the House Husband. That shit's hilarious too.
that sounds familiar. Is that
Anime.
It's a manga. Yeah, it's a manga and an anime.
Because he's like a Yakuza.
Yeah, he's an
Reformed
ex-Yakuza who, he leaves the Yakuza life behind him, and he's just devoted to his wife, to being the best house husband he can be, but he takes everything very seriously with like a really like Yakuza mindset. It's,
Right.
It's pretty funny.
That does sound entertaining.
There's a hostile takeover to be had here, and it's called The Dishes. We're gonna be doing
Oh
these.
no, it's the laundry. Oh no, the hot milk kimono.
So I do have a question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Have you ever fired a Mark 23?
No, unfortunately. We have one at work, but it's my boss's personal gun, and I want to shoot it. But
That'd be like fucking his wife.
In a kimono.
I'm sure if I asked him, he'd allow me
Austin's
to.
the one
But
wearing the kimono.
But no, I want to shoot it. It's like one of those weird things in cinema where like, because it's got such a big stature, they always want to make it look impressive when it's shooting. So like in one of those scenes that I sent to you guys in the YouTube videos from Terminator, and he's like, I don't even remember if it was John Connor or whoever fell on the ground and was shooting at the Terminator. And he's like, his wrist is like breaking with the recoil, but it's like,
That was Kyle Reese.
was it? Oh, Kyle Reese. Right. Yeah. The leader of the rebellion. Yeah. The thing to understand with this gun too is like when you're shooting it, the 45 already has kind of a tame recoil to it because it's such a large bullet. So it absorbs a lot of that snap. So the smaller the bullets get, you get more of a snappy recoil. This is more of just like a push, and it kind of like pushes back and you come back on target pretty easy. When you upscale the size of the gun and the size of the bullet stays the same, you get way more moderate recoil. So like in the movies, they make it look super impressive when in reality, like the gun doesn't move too much.
It's like pew.
Yeah, like
pew.
like really just not that. I mean, obviously not that quiet, but it's still one of those things. It's like they play it up for the movie, so you'd think it was like way more. The recoil was huge, but yeah, I don't know. It's just something I want to throw in there.
Something I want to throw in there is that you mentioned Terminator. I think it's because we watched it like last year, I think, Austin.
Which one?
2.
The best
Did
one?
we watch one?
I think we watched 2. And
Judgment Day.
Oh yeah, we did start.
Yeah,
too.
and I was like, wait a second. John Connor sends his best friend from the future back in time to fuck his mom, so
He doesn't send him to fuck his mom. His best friend just fucks his mom.
But
Sends him back to save his mom from the Terminator.
Is this another Bruce Willis goes back in time to kill himself?
And then they fuck.
and
yes.
then they fuck. And it is the most ridiculous fucking thing out there.
Why?
Yeah, but we're talking about this is Terminator 1. We want
Yeah, that's Terminator 1.
2.
Yeah,
No, but
Terminator
I
2
real-
is when John Connor sends the Terminator back in time to be his
save
best friend
himself.
as a child.
I remember. I know the plot.
They have
but I
wacky
was
adventures.
like, but I was thinking about it
Because
while we were
Gene
watching
Short's
it.
kid wasn't good enough.
Yeah, no, I was going because I remembered it because we were watching it. And I was like, wait a fucking second. It's almost like Back to the Future when he's like, yeah, I almost fucked my mom.
And he's like disappearing. It's like crazy. The more I
Can you imagine if when he didn't fuck his mom, he disappeared?
Oh shit! All right, well, I guess we got to make this
That's
happen.
a devil's choice right there.
He finds out that his dad's a cuck, and that's how he finds out.
Was that not essentially what the plot seemed to be going towards?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the way he dressed.
Dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody have any closing thoughts?
Wow, you're going to just take that from Austin?
Yeah, that was a little rude, buddy.
Hey, cut that.
I don't know. There's not too much more to say here. My notes are on the floor, so
Pick him up.
That's okay. They must not have been very important if you threw them on the ground violently like that.
Goes, leans over, picks it up.
You guys were talking about Terminator while Austin's pulling up his notes.
Terminator. So,
Turdminator, more like.
Terminator. I got a fucking Terminator.
You get a Terminator. Well, let me tell you,
got a
the
Ookie.
best Terminator movie by my measure, even though I haven't seen it, has to be Terminator Salvation because every movie theater I go to has one of those fucking light gun arcade cabinets.
Oh, they do, though.
They don't get rid of them.
No.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
in
it's
there.
'cause-
When did Terminator Salvation came out in like 2008 or some shit?
Yeah.
And nobody remembers that movie.
Christian Bale.
he was in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the movie where he did the yelling at the light guy, right? Because the light guy kept getting in the way and ruining the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely, he has a conniption fit and just is
don't-
a complete asshole.
I mean, I think that was taken out of context, honestly, because from what I understand, that guy was very well known for ruining shots.
Well, and on
they
top
were
of
at
that,
the
the
end
shots
of
are
a
like
really
thousands
long.
of dollars.
Yes, but
Yeah.
also like they're on set for hours doing that shit and having to redo the shot over and over and over again because some asshole keeps just walking into the shot
Yeah.
or fucking it up. I get it. I want to yell at the guy too.
Yeah.
You know?
I hate people.
Yeah.
And we have that on record.
Do you hate people?
I fucking hate people.
I feel like Cody has that on record like every other day. But
That's not true.
yeah, I mean, just of the
Well, most
cliff
of you
notes
fucks.
that I have, I don't have anything crazy to bring up after that. I mostly just wanted to talk about how, like, you know, this gun, and this is why I chose this one, is because it has more of a specific media presence than it does a known service presence. And it went on to do things like, it still accomplishes all these feats. Like, you could buy one on the market today and it would do everything that was requested of you in those trials. It's just,
So do you think that's more a consequence of what you said about how it's a more recently developed weapon and all the feats that have been potentially, done with it are still classified? Or do you think it's because it's a gun for cowards and losers?
Ooh, I like
Jesus
that one. I like
Christ.
that one.
you think Solid Snake is a coward and a
No,
loser?
I'm asking your opinion. I don't think anything. I'm
No.
just asking
Oh,
what you
yeah.
think.
Yeah, I
Because it
think-
sounds like
I-
you're
I
kind of
defi-
saying,
I definitely
But-
think you have an opinion, but no, absolutely not. I
no,
don't think it's a
Solid
gun
Snake
for.
rocks and he's cool.
I think it definitely has a very niche application that I'm sure plenty of people have used it for. I just don't think we hear about it because, one, those exploits won't be declassified until long from now. Two, I mean, you're talking about the 90s to the early 2000s. And with like offshore UDT stuff, I don't even know if that would be super applicable for that time or where stuff like that was happening.
I got a question for you regarding this. Just like when things get declassified, I mean, is there sort of a wave of, tales that happen before things are declassified? You hear about accomplishments like that just among the rank and file that kind of gets spread.
Yeah,
Or-
so I think it's a lot more common today. Like people will go on shows and
On
stuff.
TikTok.
Yeah, or maybe.
They'll do the TikTok when they shoot 7 people in the head with the Mark 23.
I think it's a little bit less.
Subway surfers up in the top left corner.
Yeah,
the
right.
cock luck TikTok, if you will.
Thank you.
But I think it's, yeah, maybe like just people start talking about stuff and eventually things will kind of come out and then things get released. But it's like, I don't know. This is sort of things that would be, even if an operation like this does sort of happen, it wouldn't be something that we would hear about at all because it's all the underwater demolition stuff is all like mines and things like that. And a lot of this sort of shit happened in Vietnam before this was even like a firearm. So I don't think there's a lot of operational context around it to begin with. Maybe we'll hear something 40 years from now when something gets declassified. But yeah, I think it came in a weird time and it wasn't really called for a lot of stuff. And it doesn't have nearly the service history that a lot of the other pistols do. You know, like even the M9's been around since the 80s, which is a little bit earlier and had like some other conflicts to go through. And since it's a mainline weapon, it's not being used by specialized troops. You get a lot more stories about
They're not
it.
putting it in the ocean for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
So I have just one more question. So that being the case, what would you say the reputation surrounding the Mark 23 among military personnel and enthusiasts in general is?
It's
Wet.
actually what?
I said wet.
Wet, yeah. It's got a cute face and a wet nose, but no, it's actually pretty mixed because even amongst SEALs, like I was telling you, the guy, I can send you guys the video if you're interested. It sounds like maybe you want to watch some parts of it, Kody. The guy that was in the test trials for it talked about how he used it all the time in his like training and application and everything, and he loved it. Like he had all this equipment that he brought and was like, yeah, this thing actually rocks. I used it all the time. But then he would go talk to SEALs that weren't doing underwater demolition stuff, and they were like, we never fucking used the thing. It was huge, chunky. We had better weapons to suit it. We weren't running missions that required it. So you get people with different experiences, and they'll come around, and then they kind of say whatever, and then that gets spread as gospel into a space somewhere, and then someone on Reddit goes, well, I talked to a guy that said that it was stupid or whatever. And then some people go, well, I talked to a guy that loved the thing. And then this. And so for a while, it's like clashed heads. And so just recently, more people have been coming to the service that were like, yeah, I fucking love this thing, dude. Like it did everything I needed it to do. And I carried it around when we were doing training and shit like that for hundreds of thousands of rounds or whatever sort of bullshit. And I loved it. So to answer your question, there's two fields to this. Like people butt heads on it all the time. But I think again, it all comes back to in the world space of looking at it as a whole. Everyone loves the pistol for its aesthetic and its screen presence. Like everyone wants one of these things, but at the end of the day, they're like $2,700, and
They ain't cheap, baby.
Yep.
We looked it up. Austin and I looked it up before we started recording.
And most importantly, they can't do your laundry for you.
they can't.
Well, hold on. There might be another $2,700 attachment that we're not aware of.
Wait till it gets declassified.
Are women that cheap?
Jesus Christ.
That's probably
Cut
a good
that, cut
place
that,
to
cut
wrap
that.
it up, I think.
But wait. And now we're wrapping it up. Here we go. The nice solid cut because that was fun.
Well, because you said a woman was doing my laundry for me before that, so I was trying to round the joke in. But that's okay.
Did I?
I think it's fine.
kimono
I think
woman.
it's fine that you
I
made
didn't,
that.
I didn't say that at
I
all.
want to
The
go ahead
kimono
and say
woman.
That was
it's
him.
fine that you made that comment, Austin.
The
I didn't
kimono
think it was
woman.
that bad. I just think, if people get up in arms about it, that's your problem to deal with.
The kimono woman is what I was talking.
All
Yes,
right.
I know the kimono woman, i.e. you.
The one that peels back the kimono?
Yes, the one.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm
Austin.
so
You don't have to
confused.
clarify for me. I understood
All right,
completely.
all right.
These guys just got up in arms because they're freaking lib cucks.
I have to
Well,
shit.
that's not what I was going for.
All right. Well, why don't we share some closing thoughts here? Any closing thoughts? Anybody? Adam, you
Well, you're
seem
taking
like
it away
you
from
learned a
him.
lot.
You're taking it away from him. That's so rude.
Now you're doing it.
I'm taking it away because he said something that offended both you guys. So I'm just going to kind of take the reins and steer us into the end
The
goal
joke
here.
was supposed to be more of a satire. I don't think
understood.
people picked up on it.
I understood. Intellectually, I see you. I hear you. You're there. But these guys, Cody's all up in arms because he's got an Uki in him, and Adam is a learned man.
I'm going to go cry into my Bernie Sanders t-shirt.
Yeah. Okay. And how about you, Kody? Anything you learned?
I learned Adam has a thing for fucking kimono wearing MILFs.
One thing we did not learn, notably, is Adam's perfect kimono wearing MILF. And, he did get away with not giving that description, and you guys were very generous to move us along from that.
Find out next week.
No. No, I feel like I learned a lot.
I think it's a pretty cool gun.
I think it's a rad gun.
I hope that people use it in more stuff like movies and TV and stuff. Make
Correctly.
it even more. Well, no, I like it when guns are used incorrectly because it pisses people like Austin off. I like it when Steven Seagal does that down the hallway
Oh, God.
cross shot. But I think it's cool, and I think more high profile, cool ass virgins like Solid Snake need to use it. That's my takeaway.
Yeah. Well, kind of wraps up the Mark 23 in my eyes. So,
All right, bye.
all right.
Peace out.
See ya.
You've been listening to Learner's Permit. Thanks for listening. We hope you learned something today. Until next time, goodbye.